Now, you guys know I have put a few hours into Skul the Hero Slayer.
Are you sure about that?
So I'm going to be putting my knowledge of all the skulls that I have used into a tier list for you guys to see who is the reigning champion and who is the king and most powerful of all these skulls. And guys, this is just my opinion, so if I put one of your favourite skulls at the bottom of the tier list, that does not mean they're bad, it's just that I don't really enjoy using them.
Stop the cap.
So take this tier list with a pinch of salt, as it's not the definitive answer for who is the best. So with that out of the way, let's get into the tier list. And starting off, we do have Lil Skul here.
Let's go.
So I have made his own tier specifically for him, just because he is a very good skull, but you do have to have a certain set of items to actually use him, being the Mage's Necklace and the Manatee Gravity Generator. So you can't actually run him all the time unless you want to go for a specific Lil Skul run using those items, and that is why he is in his own tier. But do not get me wrong, he's an extremely good skull when you do get these items. As you can see, I do have a Lil Skul run on the channel if you want to check out how to actually use him. And moving on, we do have Davy Jones. Now, in the recent 1.7.3 patch, this guy did get buffed quite a lot with his damage, and he also got his increased reload speed and things like that.
Yes! 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 Yes!
But I have not actually tested this guy in the new patch. I haven't just found him early enough to pick him up and build a run around him.
No! No! No!
So for now, he's actually going to go in needs more testing. Now, there will be a few skulls in this tier just because I've not had the chance to actually play everybody, even though I've put 200 plus hours into this game.
Trash!
So we might do an updated tier list when I do have the chance, and I've had the chance to use these guys. But moving on, we have Genie. Now, Genie, I think he's in a good spot right now, so I'm going to put him in the decent tier.
That's pretty good.
He gets a lot of invulnerability through his skills and his swap-ins, and he does a good amount of damage with those skills in his basics. But I would like if he did get a little bit of buff when the physical patch rolls around at some point. I don't know when.
Nice.
But I very much enjoy using him, so he's going to stay in the decent tier for now. And joining him in there is going to be Ghoul. So Ghoul, he's not better than Genie, so we are going to be putting him below him. Now, he's in a okay spot, so he does good damage, and obviously his health regen is really nice, especially if you get the Piety Curse in the Dark Mirror. The only kind of problem I have with Ghoul is that I just take way too many hits with him just because he gains so much size when you get his flesh chunks up to 30. But other than that, he does good damage. His skills are certainly not bad, so he's going to be staying in this tier for now. And with Arcglitch, he is going to be upgrading himself into the very nice. So Arcglitch is a very powerful legendary skull. I think he's probably got one of the best basic attacks for the base legendaries, and probably one of the best basic attacks in the game. He does really good damage with all his skills, and he did get a massive buff since the new patch, and I haven't actually got to use him, but before that, he did very good for me, so he might actually go in the OP tier if I do get to use him. There is only one other magic legendary that I think is better, but we'll get to him later on. Okay, so I did just want to interrupt today's video to say thank you for all support we have been getting on the recent Skul videos. I'm going to try and hit 400 subscribers by the end of April, so if you are new here, make sure you do drop a like, subscribe, and let's get back into the build. And joining him in the very nice tier, we do have Berserker. So Berserker here is probably one of my favourite skulls in the game, and I am going to be putting him above Arcglitch, but I'm a little bit biased because I love doing physical runs a lot more than my magic runs. But he does so much damage, Berserker, especially in his devil form. When you can transform him, he does insane damage with his basics, his skills. His devil shout actually can wipe out enemies literally instantly. So for now, he's going to be sitting in the very nice tier, probably around the top, and I don't think they'll buff him in the patch because he doesn't really need it, and skulls like Ghoul and Genie need it a little bit more. And moving on, we do have DP or Dark Paladin. Now DP is going to be sitting at the top of the decent tier for now. Okay. Because I think he's in a good spot, but there is only a few skills that I like to run on him, like the Dark Wave and the Dark Charge, just because his other skills, I feel like they just really reduce your survivability chance because you just sat still waiting for enemies to come and charge against you, and especially when you're fighting the hero in the last last phase. You really cannot sit still because he will punish you and hit you for like 100 HP or more if you've got an omen item. So for now, he's going to be staying in this tier, and joining him is going to be Alchemist. Now, Alchemist did used to be at the very top. He was extremely powerful a good while ago when he had the proper flame flask, but as soon as they kind of nerfed that and made him what he is today, he's just not been as good. But I still really enjoy him, especially if you just go for like the basic magic build with the 4 wisdom, the skill cooldowns, stuff like that. He does really work. And next up we have Champion. Now, Champion, I don't think he's in a good spot right now. For me, he just doesn't deal enough damage, especially for a legendary Skul. I feel like he's just kind of weak, like he's not doing too much, even with his combo skill and in his golden state. That's probably the only exception, I would say. And I feel like you just kind of need a specific set of items to actually make him work, like Kyrian and Hope Slasher and stuff like that. So for that reason, he is going to be staying in the stinks tier, and I'm really hoping that he gets buffed in the physical patch. And I'm probably going to be referring to that physical patch quite a lot in this video, so just bear with me. And next up, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Gargoyle. Now, Gargoyle is, in my opinion, the worst Skul in the game.
Trash.
I really don't like using him. That's why I barely ever use him myself. I feel like he just doesn't do any damage with his skills. His swapping's not very good, and he's just a bit too floaty, if you understand.
I'm confused right now, G.
Like, I don't feel like I have full control of his movement, so I can get hit when I just really shouldn't have. So that's the reason why he's going to be sitting in it needs help ASAP. And joining him in that tier is going to be Clown. Now, I used to be a big fan of Clown early on in Skul's lifespan, but right now, he's not in a good spot. He is better than Gargoyle, so he can move up, but I feel like he just doesn't do enough damage at all with his basics, his skills, anything like that. Really hoping he can get buffed at some point, or otherwise, he is just going to be staying at the bottom of the list. And next up, we do have another Skul in Ent, who he's going to be going in needs more testing. Now, even though I've put over 200 plus hours into this game, I've never actually done an Ent run in my life.
Stop the cap.
Which can be a little bit hard to believe for some people, but it is what it is. I just need to do some builds with him, test him out. So this is where he's going to be sitting. And next up, we have the first person going into our OP tier. We have Bomber.
That's class.
Now, Bomber is the best support Skul in the game, no doubt in my mind. He can go with any build, either physical or magic, it doesn't matter. And when you get this guy upgraded, especially if he has the Kaboom ability on him, which is his best ability, he can just rock the world. He is so good. And if you want to go for a swap build with this guy, like if you say pair Bomber up with Frosco or Water Skul, who have really good swapping abilities, so that is why he is at the top of the list. And next up, we have Gravy. Now, if you are in my Discord, which if you're not, link in the description, you will know that I've been trying to do a few builds and testing this guy out, so he's going to be sitting in the needs more testing tier. But don't worry guys, I am coming around to do a run on him. It will be sooner rather than later, so just wait for that one to come out. And next up, we have Hunter. Now, Hunter, I'm gonna have to put him in the stinks tier. He's going to be going above Champion because he's not too bad. It's just his main kind of gimmick is his concentration on his skills to get the extra kind of damage and buffs from it. But in the last hero fight, you just physically don't have time to get that concentration off before getting hit and taking way too much damage. So I'm really hoping he gets buffed, and maybe like Warlock where he got invulnerability frames after concentrating, I'm hoping they can put that on with Hunter, and that'd make him really good because he does do a very good amount of damage. He can absolutely destroy like rooms of enemies. It's mainly just bosses that he really struggles against, so that's why he's sat there. And next up, we have Frosco. Now, Frosco, he's in a good spot right now. He's certainly not as powerful as he used to be, so he's going to be sitting at the decent tier above Ghoul because, like I said, he's got a very good swapping ability, being invulnerable and freezing enemies around him, which I personally like the freeze in this game, even though, yeah, you can get hit if you time stuff wrong, but other than that, his skills do some good damage. His basics are very nice, so he's just going to be sitting in the decent tier until he gets another buff. And joining him in this tier, even though he did get a recent buff in the last patch, is going to be Living Armor. Now, he's going to be sitting just on the breach of very nice and decent. He's going to be at the top of the tier here because he does do really good damage, especially with his Soul Burn ability, which is, it's my favorite on him personally. He can literally just clear rooms out instantly without taking any hits. The only problem with him, in my opinion, is that even though he got buffed where he gains more charge on his basics. I feel like it's just a bit too slow, especially against the hero fight and bosses. You can really start to take damage and not dish out too much against them. So that is why he is sitting at the top of decent and not breaking into the very nice where Berserker and Arcglitch are. But next up, we do have another Skul who was buffed, and that's going to be Mage. Now, he's going to be sitting just behind Living Armor.
That's pretty good.
Because he's very good now. I really enjoyed using him, especially if you can get an Arson run, because they also got buffed with the items. He does really good damage with his skills, his basics. He gains a lot more mana now. It's not as slow. You're not firing out skills every like 2 seconds now. You can shoot him left, right, and center. So that's why he's sitting in the decent tier. And next up, we have Minotaur. Now, Minotaur is basically going to be the same as Ghoul, in my opinion. They're two very similar Skuls, like big, bulky, do a lot of damage, but you also take a lot of hits with them. So he's just going to be sitting above Ghoul. I don't know if he's going to get buffed. He's just kind of always been in this place, Minotaur. Like, he's not bad, but he's not great. So that's why he's just sat in decent for now. And next up, we have the Gambler. Now, Gambler, I think he's extremely good. So he is going to be sitting at very nice above Arcglitch, because I haven't used him post buff. But Gambler for me, it's like having a free infinite bone on him in his passive, where you can basically just spam your skills constantly if you get lucky. And he does insane damage. He's got insane skill cooldowns. You can do a variety of builds with him, either crit builds or just full out blown magic damage with wisdom maxed out.
Yes, yes, yes! Yes!
So I think he's in a very good spot right now. But on the opposite side of the scale, we have Stone Monkey. Now, I've been trying to get a run out for this guy for absolutely ages, but I just feel like he's not doing enough damage at all. So he is going to be getting put in the needs help ASAP. He's going to be above Clown, because I think he does a bit more damage than Clown, but he's not in a good spot. I feel like he desperately needs to get buffed, either with his damage to his basics, his skills, or just improving his clones to stay around a bit longer, or just actually move around a bit when using your skills, because I feel like they're not very good at the minute. So I'm really hoping he can get buffed in the physical patch. And next up, we have Mummy. Now, Mummy I haven't used for a very long time, so he's going to be going into the needs more testing tier, just because I don't think I've used him probably in about half a year to 6 months, something like that. Now, he was good when I did use him, but only really when you get him to like that unique and legendary state, because in rare he's absolutely horrific with his basics.
Oh, that's a lot of damage!
And his skills, so he's going to be sitting in there for now. But next up, we have one of my favorite Skuls in the game. We have Ninja.
He's the best player in the world.
Now, Ninja is going to be going into the OP tier. He just has to. He's going to be going above Bomber, because Bomber is mainly just a support Skul for me. Now, Ninja, especially with the new buff, he does some insane damage. Now, I know people don't like his air attacks and his basics, which I really like using. You just mainly have to get used to actually using them, but he does really insane damage, especially if you go for like my favorite builds in the game with a crit build. He's just ridiculous. That's all I can say. So he's gonna be sitting at the top of the OP tier for now. And next up, we have Pike. Now, I know Pike can be very good with the dash builds and stuff like that. You can build him in a few different ways, but I've not had a go with him yet. So he's gonna be going in the needs more testing area. Moving on now, we do have the Predator. Now, Predator, he is going to be going into the very nice tier, because he's very good. He's in a very good spot right now. He does some insane damage. I think he's got one of the highest DPSing skills in Hack, which is my favorite on him. He can literally just destroy bosses' health bars. He's really good at clearing out rooms. He's just kind of an all-around good Skul for everything you could want. So that is why he's going to be sitting at the bottom of the very nice tier. And next up, we have my favorite Skul, or should I say my joint favorite Skul in the game. We do have King.
Let's go.
Now, King, you know where he's going to go. He's going at the top of OP. He is ridiculously strong. You can either do a physical or a magic build with him. It doesn't really matter. I personally like doing his magic build best, but there's so many ways to build this guy. He's good either way. If you have not used him, I highly recommend giving him a go. And going back to back, joining King in the OP tier, we have Reaper. Now, Reaper is probably my favorite base legendary Skul in the game, so he's going to be going just above Ninja, actually, in the OP tier, because his swapping is insanely good. He's got so many moves with, like, invulnerability. His basics are very nice. His harvest skill can clear out entire rooms. He does so much damage to bosses. I don't know what else more you could want from a Skul, so that is why he is at the top. And next up, we do have Recruit. Now, Recruit, he's going to be going into the stinks tier for me. He's okay. He does good damage with his swap and his abilities like that, but me personally, I'm really not a big fan of him because you're not actually doing damage with him himself. It's more the allies you summon with him, which I know that is the whole point of him, but I'm personally just not a fan of it, so that is why he is sitting in that tier. And next up, we do have Ryder. Now, Ryder for me personally, I've never really liked using him. I don't think he's a very good Skul, so he's going to be going into the needs help ASAP.
No! No! No!
At the top of the tier list, just because his bike skill, if you got some invulnerability frames on it, then I would say, yeah, it's good. But other than that, when you use it, I take way too much damage. I feel like he just doesn't do enough damage later in the axe and against bosses. So I'm hoping he can get buffed and go from the physical to magic split to either all magic or all physical. So that is why he's staying in that tier. And next up, we have Rockstar. Now, Rockstar, he's not in a bad place, so he's just going to be going into the decent tier above Mage here. He does good damage against bosses, especially if you can get the band activated, so you can shred people like that. My only problem with him is his basic attacks don't really do a lot. His skills are good, but he's not in a bad spot by any means, so I'm happy putting him and leaving him there. And next up, we have Samurai. Now, Samurai is extremely good. He's not quite OP, so he is just going to be sat above Berserker here at the top of very nice, because I don't think he breaks that OP tier just yet, but he's in a very good spot, especially with his single slash. He's got the counter in evading slash, stuff like that. He can literally just decimate bosses with his full moon slash when you get him upgraded, especially if you go for a crit build, get like the veiled mass, so your crit damage goes through the roof. You can really hit some insane numbers with this guy, so he could go in OP, but I'm going to stick him at the top of very nice for now, because I'm saving that tier just for the very best of Skuls. And next up, we have another Skul that I haven't actually tested yet. It is Shield, so there's not really a lot I can say with him. He's one of these Skuls that I haven't picked up, so he's just going to sit in that tier for now. And next up, we have Sword. Now, Sword, I really like him, but I don't think he's very good at the minute, so I'm going to put him at the top of the Stinks tier, which could be quite surprising for a few of you. I do think he is better than Hunter, but the way you have to build him in a bleed build, I can only really beat the game if I also find the Miracle Grail for him, so relying on that one singular item to help beat the game with him, it's not really a good show of your strength. So I'm hoping that this guy gets buffed to where his skills do more damage and maybe bleed gets a little bit more amplified, so he's going to be sitting in that tier for now. And next up, we do have the Thief. Now, Thief is a very fun Skul. I really enjoy using him, so he is going to go into the very nice, just above Berserker here. And there's a certain build that I love to do in this guy with my crits, where you get like the legendary Hunter's Arrow, which you don't need to actually run on this guy, get an invisible knife, and he does really good damage with his skills. He can become invulnerable in his smoke. He does really good damage with his basics. You're getting a ton of money when you do this run with Thief, because it's basically like having treasure on him, where you just get money for hitting enemies. So I'm very happy to keep him in there. And next up, we have Warlock. Now, even though Warlock did just get buffed, I still feel like he's in a good spot right now. He's certainly so much better than he used to be, so he's going to be going at the top of decent, just above Rockstar. Now, giving him invulnerability after his concentration really did help him just tons, so I'm happy to keep him there, but I feel like he just doesn't really do enough damage against like bosses and stuff consistently. Now, that is the problem. It's not consistent damage with him. If he did like his giant meteors every single time, was hitting them for thousands on thousands every couple of seconds, then yeah, I'd be absolutely happy to put him at the very top of the list. But he doesn't do that, so he's going to stay in there for now. And next up, we have Warrior. Now, this guy is the last and final Skul to go into the needs more testing, but I have used him in the past. There is actually a very, very old video of me playing this guy on the channel, but I do need to do a new run on him, so he's going to go in the needs more testing just for now. And moving on, we have Water Skul. Now, he is going to go in the decent tier just behind Alchemist, and he's in a good spot right now. He does really good damage. He has a good swap in, so you can pair him with Bomber, like I said before. His skills are very good with his damage and stuff like that. Obviously, his concentration, getting the waves across the screen, they really do help out, but I do kind of struggle actually doing a run with him, so that is why he's going to be sitting in decent. And next up, we have my joint favorite Skul with King. We have Werewolf. Now, Werewolf, I think he's the best Skul in the game. I genuinely do, so he's going to be sitting at the top above King.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Now, I'm a little bit biased because I love to do crit builds, and this guy has built-in crits with his passive, but I think he just does way too much damage. He's got that insane movement speed and mobility, which I really like, so you can kind of just move in, kill your enemies, move back out without taking any damage. I think he's insanely good at the moment. He has been for a good long time, so that's why he's going to be sitting at the top. And finally, we have Yaksha. Now, I had a very different opinion on this guy. I thought he was one of the worst skulls in the game at one point, but after using him and after he got his buffs, I think he's very, very good. I really enjoyed playing Yaksha, so he's going to be sitting at very nice, just below Gambler. Now, he does do really big damage, especially when he goes into his transformation state. He can literally one-tap bosses. He's really, really strong, especially with his skills. So that is why he's going to be sitting there, and that is the tier list completed. So if you guys did enjoy, you're doing to help support the channel, make sure you do drop a like, subscribe if you are new here, and if you had any thoughts on this tier list, I want to hear them in the comments down below. And if you want to see any other Skul videos, click in the top right to see a playlist of all my other Skul videos that I have done, and click in the top left to see the video that is best suited for you. This has been Mystic, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.